Wish you warm welcome. In today's full body practice, we'll focus on upper body. If possible, place your mat close to the wall. I'll be using a blanket to sit as a prop, and that's the only prop you need in today's session. Any blanket or thick bed sheet at home will do. Just make sure it's not very soft or slippery, and when you fold it, it has some height. So just to give you an example, I'm using this blanket and it has roughly this much of thickness when I folded it. All right. In today's session, I'll be offering variations considering two specific limitations. First, if you have neck injury, that means you are restricted in your head or neck movement. And second, if you are tight in your front hip region, which prevent you from lying flat on the ground on your abdomen or at the front of your body. We'll begin the session with spot jog or spot walk. If you can jog, start jogging, and if you can't, just spot walk. Bring your attention to your breath, relax your face, relax your jaw, gentle smile on your face. We use smile to bring attention in breath and body so that for next 30 minutes we are not distracted by the thoughts or the challenges that life has to offer. And of course, we try our best. It's absolutely normal to get distracted. Pause. Now, while maintaining your arms at the sides, raise your knee towards the chest. One, two, one, two. Keep going. One, two. Now we'll engage the arms from the next iteration. So when you raise your knee up, raise your arms along with that. Two, one, two, one, two. Now engage the breath. Exhale when you raise your knee up through your nose. Keep going. For some reason, if your nose is blocked, then exhale through your mouth. Last iteration. Pause. Take a breath here. Just stand in Tadasana with hip width apart. Mountain pose. Arms at your sides. Catch your breath. Lengthen the arms at your sides. Chest lifted and inner shoulders going away from each other. Release and relax. Come close to the wall and bring your hand onto the wall. Just observe my arm is slightly bent. It's not straight. So I'm taking support of wall here. If you are not close to the wall, your hands are on your hips. Then raise your knee up towards the chest and let it go all the way back. Your leg to go all the way back and it's straight. You're trying to create the length at the front hip region. So if you're leaning forward, then you're not letting that length come at the front hip region. So you need to be in upright position when you move your leg back. Watch again. Raise your knee up and let it all the way go back without leaning forward to the extent you can. All right, let's do it together. 6 reps. 1, breathe. 2, exhale as you extend the leg back. 3, 4, press your opposite leg well onto the ground. Last iteration. 6. Change. Now turn towards the opposite side. Bring your opposite hand onto the wall if you are close to the wall. I do not have wall at my opposite side and I want to face camera. So I'm bringing my hands onto the hips. Let's do the opposite side. Raise the knee up. 1, 2, 3. Press the opposite foot well onto the ground. 4, 5. Last reps. 6. Come back to Tadasana with your hands at your sides. We use Tadasana, mountain pose, to calibrate our alignment and bring our attention back to the breath. So observe how your weight is spread on your feet. If it's not even, then just bring the evenness of your body weight on your feet. Release and relax. Now turn towards the side so that you are facing towards the wall and you're roughly arm's distance or slightly shorter than that, close to the wall. Your feet are hip width apart, arms at your sides. Come to Tadasana variation, mountain pose variation with feet hip width apart, looking straight. On next exhale, raise your arms up, arms straight. Let the fingers extend towards the ceiling along with your thumbs and little finger. Make sure they are not curling. Bring your shoulders down towards the ground and then bend forward to bring your hands onto the wall at the front. Your hands are roughly shoulder distance apart and gently walk your legs back. If you have any neck issues, then go up to the extent you can and just stay there. Otherwise, follow me. Go all the way back so that your torso is roughly parallel to the ground and angle between your legs and the torso is roughly 90 degrees. And observe where my hands and arms are. My wrist is in line with my shoulder and my hands are shoulder distance apart and feet are hip width apart. My face is parallel to the ground. Keep the arms straight. See if you can straighten them a bit more in the elbows. Slowly bend your arms and walk your legs forward. Come back to Tadasana. This time we'll stay a bit longer in Tadasana. Arms at your side, let them be straight. Chest lifted and widen the chest. Inner shoulders going away from each other. Relax your jaw, relax your face. Imagine your feet are like roots of the tree grounding into the earth and use that solid connection of your feet with the ground to open your chest, to lift your chest more up and allow your inner shoulders to go away from each other. But when you do that, make sure you're not arching at the lower back. Bring your attention back to your breath while pressing your feet well onto the ground. On next exhale, while maintaining this alignment, raise your arms up. We'll repeat. Bring your hands onto the wall. Now you know the drill. Slowly walk back. If you have any neck issues, go up to the point you can and stay there. Keep pressing your arms, your hands onto the wall. Otherwise, come to the box pose or the Uttanasana, where your torso is parallel to the ground, your legs are straight, and your hands onto the wall. This time, cultivate the same alignment in your feet that you just had in Tadasana. Press them well onto the mat. Lift through the front thighs up towards the hips. That means you are lifting the skin at top of your knee towards the hips to have solid connection of your legs with your hips. Slowly bend your arms and walk forward. Come back to Tadasana. Breathe. Don't hold the breath. One last time. Raise your arms up. Allow your shoulders to go down. Then bring your hands onto the wall. Hands are shoulder distance apart. Walk your legs back. Bring your torso parallel to the ground. Press your hands well onto the mat. Press your hands well onto the wall. Now, this time, while pressing your feet well onto the mat, having that solid connection of your legs with your hips, move your hips all the way back towards the wall behind so that you are creating a length from your lower back through your mid back all the way through your head towards the wall at the front. Extension in your back, longer spine, and slightly engage your abdomen, meaning bring your navel slightly in towards the spine to not arch your lower back. Once more, while pressing your feet well onto the ground, move your hips all the way back towards the wall behind and create that length in your back. Visualize that you're elongating your back, you're lengthening it by moving the hips back and extending it towards the head direction. Slowly bend your arms, walk your legs forward, come back to Tadasana. Take a breath here, release and relax. Come at the center of your mat and sit in cross leg position. Take the blanket or substitute that you have underneath to sit tall, to sit upright. Just observe having some height underneath, how it allows you to sit upright, to sit tall. Use your hands beside your hips to create that length in your back. Lift through your lower back and sit tall. Just have a look at the front of your torso. If you're rounding the back, you have shortened the front of your torso. So you want to take support of your hands to lift your torso up towards the ceiling so that you have length at the front of your trunk. Relax your face. We'll be doing the gentle twist. I'll be mirroring the pose here. That means this is my right, which is same as yours. Bring your left hand on top of your right thigh and bring your opposite hand behind you on the ground just for support. Keep looking straight, sit tall, sit upright. If this is going well and if you don't have any pain in your neck or discomfort, then turn all the way towards the right. So you're turning from your abdomen all the way through your torso so that your torso is turning towards the wall on your right along with your head, and look towards the wall on your right. Make sure your neck or head is not tilting towards one side, it's in the center. Breathe. Keep breathing. Slowly come back to the center. Turn towards the opposite side. The moment you turn, observe if your body weight is shifting towards one side, towards your right hip or left hip. Just pay attention to that. If so, just bring the evenness of your body weight on both the sides of your hips. Just transfer the weight towards the opposite side. Come back to the center. We'll repeat. Turn towards the right. And this time when you get into the pose, try to extend your shoulders out to the sides and down towards the ground, towards the side. So you're creating length from your neck towards the shoulders. Imagine as if you're lengthening your trapezius, lengthening your collarbones. Come back to the center, turn towards the opposite side. Keep breathing. Press your sitting bones well onto the ground to lift your trunk and extend your shoulders out towards the side so that you're creating the length from your neck towards the shoulders. Release, come back to the center. Raise your arms, bring them in line with your shoulders. Extend them towards the front without moving the shoulders forward. Shoulders are going back and down. So your scapulas are roughly going towards your spine. Lift in the chest, widen the chest. Then interlock your fingers. Bring your thumbs in line. Turn your hand so that your palms are facing towards the wall at the front. Change. Bring the opposite little finger at the front. Have a look at your arms. If they are bent at the elbows, see if you can straighten them a bit more. Release. Bring your hands onto your thighs. Shake your arms. If there is any tension or tightness, let it go. Bring your hands onto your thighs. Roll your shoulders back. Roll your shoulders forward. One more time. Raise your arms. Interlock your fingers. Bring your thumbs in line. Turn your hands. And slowly raise your arms up. Palms going towards the ceiling. Gently going up. If at any point, if you feel discomfort in your neck, then just stop at that point and reduce the intensity slightly. That means bringing the hands down towards the ground to reduce the intensity. Others, keep going, bringing your arms up so that your upper arms are roughly close to your ears and palms are facing towards the ceiling. Shoulders not going up towards the ears, allow them to come down. Relax your face, relax your jaw. Slowly bring your arms down. Change the interlocking of your fingers. Bring the opposite little finger at the front. Straighten your arms and slowly raise them up. The movements, the moment arms go up, see if you are hunching your shoulders up towards the ears. If so, press them down, but don't jam them. Gently allow them to come down. And you're not pressing them hardly to come down. Slowly bring your arms down and bring your hands onto your thighs. Now we'll practice Marichasan 1 variation named after Sage Marichi. I turn here towards the side to maintain my legs on the mat when I straighten them. And I'm using the blanket underneath to sit upright, to sit tall. Use your hands beside your hips to sit upright. Just have a look at your torso, just like we did earlier. See if you're shortening it. If so, try to create the length. Lift through the chest, inner shoulders away, going away from each other. Breathe. And your trunk is not leaning back. Bring it forward so that your hips are roughly in line with your shoulders. Breathe. Release. Slowly bring your hands back and wiggle your legs side by side to release any tension or tightness, and we'll repeat. Bring your hands beside your hips once more. Sit tall, sit upright. This time when you are in the pose, make sure your knees are pointing towards the ceiling along with your toes, so your legs are not rolling out to the sides. And observe where the strength is coming from to maintain the lift in the trunk, to lift the trunk up towards the ceiling. It's coming from the base of your hips and the back of your legs. So press your hips well onto the ground along with the back of your legs to maintain the lift in the trunk, as if you're extending it towards the ceiling from your low back through your mid back all the way up towards the ceiling. Last breath here. Keep breathing. Slowly release. Bring your hands back. Wiggle your legs side by side. Pause. Bend your right leg and bring your right heel close to your right hip. Interlock your fingers just like we did earlier and catch hold at the top of your shin to take support of your hands to sit upright, to sit tall. So if you're shortening at the front of your torso, just have a look, you're rounding your back. The moment you create the length at the front of your torso, you're reducing the round at the back. So you're creating a length at your spine, and that's what we want. Breathe, don't hold the breath. Once more, observe where the strength is coming from to maintain the lift in the trunk. And this time it's coming from your foot, which is pressing on the ground, along with the back of your legs, your hips, and the hands that you're using as support. Release, change, legs to the opposite side. Bring your left heel close to your left hip. Interlock your fingers, catch hold at the top of your left shin, and lift the trunk up. Create the length from your lower back, your mid back to sit upright. Maintain the breath. Last breath here. Release. We'll repeat. Bend your right leg and bring your right heel close to your right hip. So this time, I want you to go forward. So lean forward so that you can press that right foot well onto the ground. And we are going to use the strength from that right foot to create the length at the lower back. So press that right foot well onto the ground. Catch hold at the top of your shin just like you did earlier. Lean forward and press it so well that you are about to jump or stand by pressing it onto the ground. And see how that allows you to create more length in your lower back, in your mid back. How it allows you to lift through the chest up and sit tall. Once more, press your toes, ball of your feet and your heels strongly onto the ground to sit tall. Breathe. Release. Change. Let's do the opposite side. This time when you catch hold at the top of your shin, go forward, lean forward so that you can press your left foot well onto the ground. And then while pressing it strongly onto the ground, create the length in your back. Allow the shoulders to go down and away from each other so that inner shoulders are going away from each other. Look straight. Press the right leg well onto the ground. Don't let it be dull. Relax your jaw. Slowly release. Lean back. Wiggle your legs side by side. Pause. Come forward. We'll practice plank and downward dog or variation of plank and downward dog. Come to the tabletop position so that your hands are underneath your shoulders. Your knees are back so that angle between your knees and torso is roughly 90 degrees. And that also means your length at the front of your trunk. If your knees are too close, see you're shortening at the front of your torso and creating round at the back. So move the knees back. So angle between your knees and torso is roughly 90 degrees. Your feet are hip width apart and hands are shoulder distance apart. Breathe, don't hold a breath, and engage your abdomen by slightly bringing your navel in towards the spine. Once you are settled in this position, straighten your right leg and place your toes all the way back on the mat or on the ground. Make sure your leg is straight. Open it at the back of your knee and feel the length that you are creating at the front hip. See if you are leaning towards the left, then lean your right hip evenly towards the ground so that both the hips are even to the floor. Bend your right leg, Bring the knee onto the ground, back to tabletop position, and then straighten your left leg. Breathe, keep breathing. Bring your knee back to the ground. Change, let's do the opposite side one more time. And this time, when you are in the pose, observe where your shoulders are. They're moving away from your ears and out to the side. And maintain the length at the front of your chest. So widen the chest. Open the back of your knee of your straight leg. Breathe. Arms straight. Feel the sensations in your hands, in your arms, in your upper arms, in your shoulders. Change to the opposite side. Two breaths here. Slowly bring your knee back to the ground. And from here, we'll get into downward dog. If you have any neck issues that stops you going from downward dog, then you will practice Adho Mukha Virasana. I just turn here to show you my back, to show you the alignment for Adho Mukha Virasana. So your toes are pointing towards each other, but they are not on top of each other. So just a finger's distance here. So sit buttocks to the heels, toes are pointing towards each other, and your knees are towards the side edges of your mat. Move your torso between your legs and arms forward at the front. Make sure there is no pain or discomfort in your neck. Option here, you can take a blanket, roll a blanket, and create some height and rest your head on top of it like this. So make few folds if it's not enough, so that you can rest your head onto the blanket. Okay, if you can get into downward dog, then follow me. Come to the tabletop position, just like we were in earlier. Your feet are roughly hip width apart, toes are tucked in, and your hands are shoulder distance apart, and your shoulders are on top of your wrist. Then lift your knees and move your hips all the way back. Crown of your head is roughly parallel to the ground. Arms straight. Press all the fingers onto the ground. Open the back of your knees to the extent you can. Last breath here. Slowly bend your legs and come back to tabletop position. Take a breath here and we'll repeat. When you are ready, lift your knees and move your hips all the way back towards the wall behind you. So that means your hips are going back towards the wall behind. And by moving the hips back, we are trying to create the length in the back. So visualize that you're moving the hips back and creating length from the base of your spine, through your lower back, through your mid back, all the way through your head towards the ground direction. You're creating one long straight line. Slowly bend your knees. Come back to tabletop position. Take a breath. If you are in Adho Mukha Virasana, forward Virasana, then come back to tabletop position. And let's lie on our back. Bring your heels close to your hips and bring your right leg on top of your left thigh. So your right outer ankle joint is placed on top of your right thigh as high as possible. And your right knee is going away from your torso. and lift your left knee towards your left chest. To increase the intensity of the pose, move your hands through the legs and catch hold at the top of your left shin. Breathe, keep breathing. Maintain the intensity of the stretch to medium. Do not overstretch. To improve the flexibility, there are two important things. You maintain the intensity of the stretch to medium or slightly higher, but not to its max extent. And second, you maintain the breath. This way, you inform your brain to allow to create the flexibility. If you overstretch, then your brain thinks that area of your body is in danger and it starts contracting the muscles in that region. Exactly opposite action to what you are trying to achieve. Release. Bring your right foot onto the ground. Bring your left leg on top of your right thigh and bring your right knee towards the chest. Catch hold at the top of your shin. Maintain the breath. Allow your left knee to go away from your trunk. Pay attention to the sensations at the back of your left thigh, in your glutes, in your hip. Make sure you're not lifting the shoulders up towards your ears. Let them go away from your ears towards the ground. Last two breaths here. Maintain the natural breath. Release. Bring both the soles of your feet onto the ground. Straighten your legs. Wiggle them side by side to release any tension or tightness. Bring your arms at your sides. Pause. Let's practice deep state of rest. Shavasana, corpse pose. Close your eyes. Bring your legs into the position where there is no tension or tightness. Allow them to roll in or out. Arms at your sides, palms facing towards the ground or ceiling, your choice. Bring your attention back to your breath. Pay attention to tensions or subtle contractions in your body and see if you can release them on exhale. Allow your fingers to relax. Allow your forearm and upper arms to sink in the ground. Don't maintain any hold in your arms, in your shoulders. Any frown lines at the forehead, let them disappear. Relax your tongue. Relax your jaw. Allow the back of your body completely release onto the mat. Visualize your body is completely melting into the mat. You are not maintaining any hold on any part of your body. Slowly bring your attention back to your breath. Bend your arms and bring your hands onto your abdomen. Pay attention to the sensations of your abdomen going up with each inhale. Bend your legs and bring the soles of your feet onto the mat. When you are ready, turn towards your side. Take support of your arm underneath your head when you turn towards the side. With the support of your arm, slowly come up and sit in cross leg position. Take support of your hands beside your hips to sit upright, to sit tall. Then bring your hands onto your chest in Namaskar Mudra, prayer position. Thumbs on your sternum, fingers together and slightly away from your thumbs. Allow your shoulders to go down. Along with that, allow your elbows to move towards the ground. Use inhalation to extend your trunk towards the ceiling and use exhalation to widen the shoulders out to the sides and allow them to go down towards the ground. Relax your face. Take this opportunity to thank yourself for being engaged in the practice to build strength and flexibility in your upper body, in your arms, in your shoulders, in your neck region. With gentle smile on your face, imagine the person or pet that you love and dedicate your practice while maintaining that face at the front of your eyes. Namaste and thank you. Slowly open your eyes. Release your hands onto your thighs. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider giving me a like. See you next time. Till then, be your best version.